Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and welcome to today's session. Today, we will see how we can save on cloud cost using automation. But before we get started, I just want to remind you that today you will have the opportunity to submit the text questions to today's presenter by typing your questions into the questions pane. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect those and we will try to address them during the QA session at the end of today's presentation. If there will be much more questions and we will not have time to answer all of them, don't worry, we will answer them offline and send you the responses. So now I would like to introduce today's presenter, who is Alex Dominic Savio. He is the Senior Product Manager on our hybrid cloud management solution. Alex, please go ahead. I will hand over to you now.
Hey, thanks, Daniel, and good morning and good afternoon or good evening. Maybe I'm sure you must be joining from different time zone. Well, I can directly jump into the slide. So today we are going to see how the solution, Micro Focus solution, HCMX, can help the customer save the cloud cost and with the out-of-the-box automation. But before that, let's take a close look at how cloud is helping the customers or the enterprise organization. Because if you look at cloud is critical to any business, but if you also go deep, it's fundamentally different consumption model, and that leads to a lot of problems. And people who really are using the cloud with the managed tools and the team, well, that's really a good blessings. But if they don't manage well, it may turn to be a curse, because it may even exhaust the budget in no time, right? So here we are going to see three different teams: engineering team, IT operations, and FinOps or finance team, not FinOps, finance team. So if you look at the engineering team, well, if the engineering team are empowered, right, to directly access the cloud, well, they will be able to deploy the service quickly, and they will also be able to speed up their time to value to the application delivery. But that's on the the bright side. But on the other side, if you look at, each probably will develop their own practice. Some may follow the best practice, some may not, and that probably will lead to some siloed kind of an environment. And each, like I mentioned, it probably can impact the team's the budget at the end, right? So that's on the downside. But like I mentioned, it also empowers the team to be more self-sufficient. On the other side, IT operations, well, now they can actually easily provide a lot more services in a more agile way, and it also can be scalable, because cloud is all about elastic and scalable, right? On the other side, they also got to deal with over provisioning, which may lead to some waste resources. So that's a major concern that we are seeing with many other large enterprises or even small or medium enterprises they got to deal with. And then the last one is the finance team, where now they got to deal with variable cloud spend, because all this while they are usually go with the capex model, where they know how much they're going to spend in the hardware or even software. But now with the cloud, which provide massive amount of services, like if you take AWS or Azure or GCP, the top hyperscalers, they give you everything that you want to do on your day-to-day IT job, right? So right from your compute, software, and application and whatnot, right? So, well, that also comes with its own problem, because the cost varies frequently, and that's where you won't be able to predict, or you won't be able to understand like how much you may want to secure the budget for the next month or maybe the next quarter, right? So that's where things gets complex. So if you look at the solution, so with Micro Focus, we provide Hybrid Cloud Management X, which is built on top of the SMAX platform, and it offers different services or features, or even I would say capabilities, starting with the out of the box automation, which can actually help them to speed up. Yes, it can help you to integrate with different public cloud, and even help you to aggregate the services in no time, and the IT operations team should be able to quickly provide the services. At the same time, when the end user requests for a service, they should be able to use it, use one single portal and manage all the resources from the same single portal. They don't need to deal with multiple a vendor portal. On the other side, cloud spend optimization, which is the core topic for today, where I'm going to deep dive about how HMX can help for the cloud spend optimization. More importantly, how it can help for to spend the cloud budget efficiently. So I'm going to skip this section because I'm going to cover it in the few slides. And the last one is the compliance guardrails, where the product also offers a way to put more governance control using many rules as part of the offerings, or even we call it as proactive way to control cost by adding more rules as part of the offerings. And on the other side, there is also reactive policies which we offer as part of our UCMDB, where you should be able to run some policies to identify any non-compliance and then immediately correct it. So again, I don't want to take this as a product overview session, but just want to give you what the product is all about, and I'll be happy to go deep dive. Maybe if shoot an email to me. So let's go to the actual crux of this topic today. If you look at there are multiple ops, right? We heard DevOps, DevSecOps, and and I can list 10 other ops actually. And recently we have been hearing a lot about the FinOps, and we also see many enterprises start to adopt FinOps as a culture. But let's see what is FinOps. And by definition, FinOps, as like any other DevOps or DevSecOps, it is a practice of bringing the finance accountability, because we know that cloud is variable spend model, and it is very difficult to get more transparency if you are to even deal with multiple cloud, because you get to you get to exposed to multiple invoices, and there could be hundreds of line items or thousands of line items you probably may not get to see very detailed in the invoice, whatever these cloud vendors provides, right? So that's where the things gets trickier, and getting the finance accountability in a way by following best practices is one of the key aspect of FinOps. On the other side, enabling the distributor team to make the business trade-offs between the speed, cost, and quality, which is an iron triangle we always very well aware of, because whenever you're part of any software development, you got to deal with speed, cost, and quality, and you got to trade off between these. So FinOps, when you practice FinOps, it helps you to understand where you want to make trade-off, and which of the aspects you want to accelerate. So what is it? So at its core, right, FinOps is a cultural practice, as I explained, and it is more efficient in a way that it helps the team to manage their cloud cost, where everyone takes the ownership, meaning all the teams, the engineering team, the finance team, or the IT operations team, they all take the ownership, but the centralized team makes the best practices, meaning they help the other team follow the best practices, or sometimes they got to enforce it, so that they use the cloud budget well, and they use it efficiently. And the cross-functional team also should work together to enable the faster delivery, while at the same time gaining more financial and operational control, because they still have to not only deal with the services, but also they got to understand how much is the budget remaining, and how much they can actually spend, and what more services they can buy with a discount option. So they need to still have some financial knowledge and business knowledge and the operational control, which by default they should be having it. And the benefits, if you look at, there is no longer a need for one single team in a siloed way procure the services, and they don't need to again identify all the time about the cost, or even sign off on behalf of other teams, right? Instead, the cross-functional team can adopt a definite series of procurement best practices, and they can enable the other teams with the technology, business, and finance, where it can help them to optimize the cloud vendor management and even the rate and even the discounts. Let's say, for example, if they want to opt for to buy the reserved instance, the FinOps team can actually make better decisions, and they can actually facilitate for the other teams. But again, the decision comes from these teams whether they want go with what kind of instance type. Well, I don't want to go too deep there, technical, but I just want to share the benefits. And with FinOps, each operational team can access any near real-time data so that they can actually influence their spending. And if you get to see like what you're spending, then you will be able to make more informed decisions. And also it helps them to make intelligent decisions that ultimately will result in efficient cloud cost. And it also can help them balance the speed and the quality, which is nothing but the iron triangle. So that's the greater benefit for any team who adopts the FinOps. So let's see how HMX helps for the FinOps team and IT operations team, and even for the engineering team. But we can go too detailed in a different session. But I want to here focus on how HMX can actually save cost or even avoid waste by applying some automation levers, and that's what I'm going to show you. So in the demo, I'm going to jump into the demo in a few minutes, but just to touch upon, we have a feature which can help the customers to aggregate multiple cloud services, and click of a button, it will help them to create offerings. And along with that, it helps them to add more rules which can prevent any missteps. Meaning if the end users are more proactively going in provisioning stuff on the cloud, well, they don't need to deal with all the regions or all the instance sizes, where sometimes they may get confused and they may even provision something which may get the non-desired result, right? So with HCMX in place, the IT operations team can actually create an offering with more control, so the end users will get what they need. At the same time, they will also have better governance. And on the other side, there is also an option for the user to start or stop the VM. Maybe if I want to stop the VM over the weekend because I don't want to get charged because I'm not using it, so why should I pay for it? So the product also provide an automation capability to stop the set of resources over the weekend, and maybe Monday morning I want the VMs all to be up and running. So you can also schedule it. And there is also an option to scale down the resources the same way. Like on a given day, I want to scale up because I know that it's a peak hours or peak day. Maybe I need to make the services up and running in the cluster. So I may even go create 50 servers in a cluster. But let's say on the different day, I know that there won't be any much of requests, so I may want to bring it down. So you can schedule using out of the box automation, which can result in help you to save a good amount of cost. And we see that our customers are getting a lot of benefit, and it is actually resulting in their cloud bill every month by just simply bringing down the VM or even scaling down their cluster resources. So that's what I'm going to show you in the demo. So let me start share my screen. Okay, so if you look at, let me start with the feature that I explained, which is nothing but the image aggregation. So this feature helps the IT operations team integrate with multiple different marketplace portal, because each of this marketplace portal offers thousands and thousands of services. As you see on the screen, there are like close to 14,000 services sorry, coming from AWS or GCP or even Azure. In fact, we also can aggregate from the vCenter. I mean, the templates that you create in your data center can also get aggregated, where you should be able to quickly create any kind of offerings with more controlled configuration that can be exposed to your end users. And there is also a search engine where you can actually search for a Tomcat, or maybe if you want to even offer, let's say, Jenkins. So you can actually search and select any kind of services. And not just that, if I'm actually selecting, let's say, if I'm selecting the RabbitMQ, and here you will also be able to configure different regions that you want to expose. Though any cloud provider offers, let's say, 15 to 20 regions, but you don't need to expose all of it, right? I mean, you know that, these are the regions that I want my developers to use. So you can actually put a control, and at the same time, instance sizes, which makes huge difference when anyone is consuming in a way that they're supposed to. Yes, I mean, if, for example, my application would work only on these instance sizes because I need, like, let's say I need just CPU of 2 and memory of 4 gig, probably that's all I need. But if you're exposing all the instance sizes, I probably may not have have any control, and I would prefer to go provision something, let's say X4 large, which is going to cost a lot for me. So you don't want to do that, right? So that's why HMX offers a way for the IT operations team to configure only the necessary instance sizes, which are specific to particular group or a particular project, so the development team can actually, or engineering team, make use of it without having to go through all the list of instance sizes. At the same time, the IT operations team also can do a side-by-side comparison of the prices of these instance sizes, because all this instance size comes with its own price tag, and you can also choose between the instance sizes whenever whenever there is any potential way to save the cost across different regions, right? As you see on the screen, it gives the information across the region and between the instance sizes. So you can potentially select between A0 and A1, and by simply comparing different regions, and you should be able to tailor it for your needs. And then finally, the IT operations team can actually create an offering out of it. And well, if they still want to do some customization, there is also an option, in a way they can actually use our Blueprint Designer, where you can apply a lot more automation, which can also help them to do better savings, because you probably may not want to offer everything from the cloud, and you may want to still create some of the services from a private cloud, which can help you to save, and you want to have both public and private cloud services in a single offering. So that is very much possible in the Service Designer, and it can also help you to move the data between the public and private. Well, I can go in detail maybe in a different session. So I just want to highlight how automation can help you to save the cost in multiple ways. On the other side, once the offering is created, as you all know, that the rules, whatever are present out of the box when you create an offering. Well, I mean, when you create an offering using the aggregated offerings within HCMX, it automatically will create the list of rules. On top of it, you should also be able to add any kind of rules. Let's say I want the user to select list of ports that are approved by the IT operations team, or the list of instance sizes approved by the project manager, right? So that you will be able to expose only those things which can help them to save the cost at the end. So you can add all those rules over here, and that is what will get exposed. So if I go here, and then let's say let me take an example here. So if I'm requesting a service from the end user, so this is the service portal, as we all know, and if I go down to see what are the options I can choose from. So well, I can request for to allow the SSH port, and it could be even a simple 22 port, or even 443, or you can also request for more options, which will go through an approval process. And it will also have the validation logic written using the rules, and it can automatically even throw some warnings to the user whether to use it or not based on their project. So that is one part of the automation, where proactively I should be able to save the cost by just simply comparing the cost and then configuring it, and I have better control. On the other side, like I mentioned, there is also an option for me to schedule the schedule the operations through some automation by scaling, in order to scale down or scale up based on my need. So that's what I'm going to show you. So here, if you look at in this offering, it's an Azure offering, which is going to create a simple compute and in a cluster. And by default, I may want to create, let's say, some 25 servers. So I create, let's say 25 servers, and I want to now enable the scale up or the scale down based on my options. So I select, yes, I want scale up options. And then you will be able to, configure you want to do it every day or a weekly or a weekday. And then you can also configure which particular day you want to scale up, and what time you want to scale up, and which time zone, and how much service you want to scale up. Let's say I want to scale up to 50, because I know that Wednesday and Monday, or Monday and Wednesday, there's going to be a lot of requests coming into my application. So I want to scale up on this day. On the other side, I want to scale down, after the end of the day. So I've configured the days, and I also, configure the time and the zone. And I want to bring it down to 10. Maybe that's good enough for me, because I know there won't be much of request. And then followed by that, I can configure the required regions, because it's all, again, like I mentioned, the controlled regions, and the resource. So all these, whatever you're seeing, it's all at runtime. It gets fetched from the public cloud. So if any public cloud vendor, if they are offering a new data center, it will automatically will appear. You don't need to do any prerequisite job in order to get new stuff added to the product, because the product automatically will synchronize and get the required data. So here, if you look at it, it's an advanced offering, so it provides a lot more flexibility for the user to select. And at the end, this automation is going to first create the required VMs. Let's say here I've put like 50 VMs, right? So it automatically is going to create 50 VMs, and then I'm just going to give hit. I mean, I'm going to create this subscription. So first it is going to create 50 VMs, and then it is going to schedule for Monday and Wednesday to scale out, and then again Monday and Wednesday during the end of the day, it will also scale down. So that's what it is going to do. And I can actually request now. So let me, and it also provides all the required validation. So I'm going to submit this request. Okay, it should be in the range of like 50 is not the range, so I should reduce it, because my IT admin does not want it to be 50. So I'm going to make it, let's say 8, and yeah, that's good enough, and I can submit. So now it is going to go through the approval process. And if you look at the approval process, I have configured, the IT admin have configured a built-in approval process, which is also a control mechanism, where even though I request for 25 and I'm going to scale out to 8, it has to go through an approval process when it is going to fulfill the services. And it also have to go to check with the cost, whether the overall cost of this offering is going to shoot up based on the budget I have, right? So I can put a condition, and it automatically will also be able to again, this is just sample one. You know much better than us, like what is the condition you may want to put here. And and it can also be in multi-level approval. So this is one of the way you can actually positively control the cost. And let's go to the services which is already provisioned. So I have already provisioned the service, and I also explained about you can automatically stop and start the services through the automation and using the scheduler. So that's what I'm going to show you. So here I can let's say want to create the scheduler for the stop, and I can actually mention the time. Let's say I want to stop around 11 p.m. on, let's say, on this time zone, and it is going to help me to bring down these VM, and then I can execute it. Will automatically go on schedule. On the other side, I can also schedule one more, which can actually bring it up, right? So this way, like I mentioned, it is going to save a lot of cost, because all these are running on a public cloud, and even when you shut down the VM, it should automatically release the public IP, because even the public IP is going to cost you a lot. So it's not only stopping the VM should be enough. So you should also be releasing the resources. So that also the automation takes care of it, so that you will get a complete savings, not just only bringing down the services or bringing down the VMs, right? So that's the intent, and that is how it in depth goes and helps out the customer to save the cost through out of the box automation. Well, there are a lot of things that the product offers, which can be talk through in multiple sessions. And if you're interested, I'll be very glad to walk you through a detailed demo or even presentation. So do reach out to me. So let me go back to the session. So I think with that, I kind of completed whatever the content. And there is also, we plan to, do a FinOps webinar on September 29th. And whichever region you're part of, we have got it covered. So if you are part of APJ, you can actually register for the APJ session. And if you're from Americas or AMS or international, you can also register for the webinar given in this slide. And of course, you will get a confirmation email after we approve it. So please go ahead and register, and you will get a lot more information, because the agenda is very packed, where you will be able to understand more details about the HCMX solution, and in practical how you can actually use a lot more features than whatever I just showed. Only a pinch of pinch of very minimalistic features. But during this session, we are going to go deep, and we are going to explain how our customers are using, and more importantly, we also will provide a high level roadmap what we plan to build in the 2023. So you don't want to miss this opportunity to know about the HCMX, especially the FinOps, and you will be able to even request for any let's say POCs or even trial, and we can actually help you with that. So yeah, so let's see if there is any questions for me.
Yeah, there are a few questions. Thank you, Alex. Let's take a few of them. So there was a question in regards to how OONCMS is involved in the solution that you presented. So on the automation side, if you can add a little bit, there is also a follow up on it. What are the items that are on top of it? But I think you already showed them in the slides, so I think it was covered. But if you can tell us a little bit how OONCMS connects into the solution, into ACMX and finance.
So if I understand OONCMS, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so O is the backbone for HCMX, because any automation that we support out of the box, it's just O, and even the fulfillment comes through the O basically, and all the goodness of O, HCMX also get it. And as a customer, well, you will also be able to use O in depth, and whatever the scheduler and everything that you see, it's all coming from OO, and even the designer and all of the stuff, it comes from OO. And whenever you deploy a service, automatically the configuration items, so that's one of the unique capability that we have in the product, where automatically the configuration items get stored into the CMS, and you will also be able to see the topology graph and the dependency between the services, and you'll be able to track if anything gets changed. So the OO and CMS are part of the product, and it is very much natively integrated.
Great. Thank you. Another question is in regard to cloud support. So in the one of the screens that you shared, there was some cloud vendors like Google Cloud, Azure, and AWS. And the question is, do you have support for Oracle Cloud? Or
Oh, yeah. So, well, Oracle Cloud is in our roadmap, and we plan to introduce in our upcoming cycles. And we will definitely be able to prioritize if you're if you're having any customer request. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me, and we'll also be able to present you with the detailed roadmap and when we want to introduce the Oracle Cloud. But definitely, yes, we want to go introduce that.
Awesome, thank you. And another question, the last one for now. Do you have the possibility to compare between same resources within different providers when it comes to the cost? So we take a decision, okay, what would be the best option to, and what would be the best provider to use in terms of cost?
Yes, well, the image aggregation feature that I showed is kind of, will help you to do this before you create the resources, because that gives exposure to different resources coming from different cloud, along with the cost and with the details of the instance sizes. which can give you a clear picture like how much it is going to cost once it is realized. So you can make better decision proactively before even you offer it to your developers or engineering team, right? But we also are expanding our FinOps scope, which will help you to give an estimated cost or estimated price across different provider, and it will also give you a topology view. So that's the roadmap which I can talk through, where we want to go double down on it. At the time of requesting a service, you can also be able to see what if I deploy this on a different cloud, how much I'm going to save, right? That's something we want to give, and we are doing a POC currently, and we will be able to show you what is the POC that we are doing currently, and we can actually have a conversation, definitely, if you can reach out to me offline.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alex. And thank you all for your questions. I think it was a very good session. Now, of course, the solution is very complex and powerful. So I would encourage you to go and onboard on the webinar that Alex presented. There will be much more information in there. It's hard to fit all of it in 30 minutes, but the webinar will be a best way to get more information about the solution. I want to now remind you of the SMAX app challenge. I'm sure that you already know about it. Just a reminder that you can enter and you can build a SMAX app, and you can get into the SMAX app challenge. So don't forget about that. Next week will be a week regarding integration and integrating with SMAX. So I encourage you to make sure that you will join all the sessions next week as well. I want to thank you that you follow the sessions this week in regards to automation. I hope that those were helpful for you. Again, we promise that we will come back to you with more sessions and have invitations to user groups, so we can stay a little bit more on each and every topic. This week was kind of a sneak preview in what are the capabilities that we offer in SMAX in terms of automation, and also the solutions that we have around it in order to automate your entire processes. If you have any questions, don't forget that you can contact us on smaxtember@microfocus.com. Any feedback, any queries that you have, we will follow this email address and make sure that we will get back with a response to you. Join us tomorrow as well. Don't forget about the SMAXpert Showdown, the quiz round number 3, the same hour as today. Make sure that you don't miss it. And let's see if you can beat the Dr. SMAX. Good. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Alex, for presenting this interesting topic and for a sneak preview in how we can automate and use automation to save cloud costs. Thank you all for attending, and see you tomorrow.